Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, we are going to be going over the budget results for the first week in the month of October. We've got paycheck number 1 here. I have to admit, you guys, I did a piss poor job at tracking my spending last week. I don't have very many transaction stickers in my deluxe monthly planner here at all, but I definitely spent money. So I just did a really bad job of keeping myself organized last week. I've been in sort of a budgeting slump, and I think it's just owing to the fact that we're getting to the point in my budgeting journey where all of the credit cards that I have left to pay off are very high balances. All of those little wins that I was getting at the start of this budgeting journey with the debt snowball method are sort of over. I'm looking at a long road still ahead of me in terms of paying down debt, and I'm just tired. I've been budgeting really hardcore, nonstop all year, making progress in my debt journey, but maybe not as much as I originally had expected to have made by now. I feel like with this budgeting journey, it's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So I'm just sort of in a slump. And I don't want to let that mindset kind of screw up the progress I've made and make me backpedal. So I'm going to kind of give myself some grace, figure out my spending this week by just looking at my cash envelopes, not worry too much about the fact that I didn't do my transaction tracking and just figure it out. Give myself a little bit of leeway, not beat myself up for it. So we're gonna, try to make heads or tails of what's been going on with my budget this week. Despite my kind of disorganization, I don't even know if my microphone is working. Hold on, you guys. Is that better? My microphone came unplugged, so hopefully you guys could hear me. Let me go back and watch that footage and see if I need to start over. Hold on just a sec. Alright, you guys, sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties. Hopefully you can hear me. If that audio was off, I apologize. What was I saying? I don't know. We're just gonna try to make heads or tails of this budget despite my sort of lack of proper budgeting over the course of the week. And then when it comes time to set up my budget for the week, I'm going to make it as simple and low-key as possible, easy to follow. We're gonna just essentially pay my bills, and I'm going to just give myself some grace. The great thing about budgeting every single week is if I need to take a step back from hardcore budgeting, I can immediately get right back onto it next week. If I was just a once-a-month budgeter, I would be off track for a whole month, and that would be bad. But a week is okay. So let's go ahead and pull in my red ink, my black ink, my cash envelopes, and let's see what we can do with this really kind of lousy week of budgeting. Alright, you guys, so I have my red and black pens. I always write in black ink if I am under budget, red ink if I am over budget. Both of these pens are from Parkoo. They are the erasable pens, which I absolutely love. I have my cash envelopes here in my conscious wallet. I have my accordion folder where I keep all of my sinking funds off to the side should I need it. And I think that I am all set. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first is groceries. Now, because I wasn't great at tracking my transactions, I had to go back in my Walmart grocery app and figure out what I spent for groceries. And I'm actually very far under budget for the week. I had just a small haul. I didn't need a whole lot. So the grand total that I spent at Walmart for groceries and household alike was only $85.36. Sorry about that, that's my phone. I'm gonna go ahead and silence that right now. So I did really, really well this week, which is great. Like I said, that was for household and groceries. I didn't bother to go in and split it up and figure out exactly what was grocery and exactly what was household. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that I spent $85.36 in grocery and nothing in household. Even though that's not exactly how it shook out, we're going to go with that. So that's phenomenal. I did not realize how far under budget I was, but that's great. So next up we have the bills, and I have the bills here in my transactions, so this will be pretty easy. So for Audible, I budgeted $15, and that bill came in at $14.95. So we did good there. Netflix, I budgeted $16, and Netflix came in at $15.99. For Hulu, I budgeted $15, and that bill came in at $11.99. Disney Plus, I budgeted $10, and that was actually only $7. You guys, I do have the bundle. You know, the deal where you get Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN for a flat rate. But when I set up my Disney Plus account, I already had a Hulu account, so they just bill it as two separate things. They bill me for Hulu and then they bill me at Disney Plus. But I do have the discounted rate, just so that you guys know. I get comments all the time saying you should do the bundle. I have the bundle. It's just broken up in my budget. Next up we have Boost Mobile. I budgeted $130. That came in at exactly $130, so we're good there. Next up we have my camper payment, which I budgeted $200 and indeed paid $200. Lastly, I have my Amazon. This is a minimum payment for a credit card. I budgeted $125, but that statement for that credit card actually has not cut yet. I did the thing this month where I tried to reorganize my bills a little bit so that I was paying sort of an even amount every week for bills instead of having $800 in bills this week and then next week only paying $20. But this statement hasn't cut yet. The way that I do my minimum payments on credit cards is I make the minimum payment as soon as the statement cuts. I don't wait until the due date. I just pay it as soon as possible. So as soon as this bill cuts, I will actually pay that. For now, it has not been paid. I don't want to mark this as zero though and make myself think that I have more money than I actually do. So in this case, I'm going to pull in my orange erasable pen and just mark in that $125 so that I know that I have that money set aside for this bill, but it hasn't come out yet. That's how I'm going to handle that. So we're not over budget, we're not under budget, this money is just not accounted for yet. So that's everything. I'm gonna go ahead and add up all of these totals. Provided that this Amazon bill comes in lower or higher, it'll make this total for bills a little bit higher or lower, but I'm going to be so far under budget that I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to take any of this leftover money and do anything with it. I'm just leaving it in the bank to help out my buffer, so in this case, it's fine. I'm not worried about it at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add up these totals. $85.36 plus $14.95 plus $15.99 plus $11.99 plus 7 plus 130 plus 200 plus 125 is $590.29. Because these pens are erasable, I can come back when this bill finally, when the statement cuts and I make this minimum payment, I can come back, erase these totals, and make it so that I know exactly how much I spent this week, but for now, I'm happy with this. We are so far under budget that I'm not worried at all. Even if this Amazon bill came in and it was twice that, I would be fine. So, $686 minus $590.29. Yeah, that means that I am $95.71-ish under budget. This $95.71 I'm just going to leave in my bank account. I'm not going to use it for an extra debt payment or anything. It's just going to stay there. I have a pretty large buffer in my account so that, you know, if I do my budget one week and I vastly under budget for something, I don't have to stress about my bank being overdrawn. I can make sure that all my bills get paid. If my husband's paycheck comes in lower than anticipated one week because he's paid based on commission and maybe he didn't have a lot of work that week, I have money in my buffer that I can use to help, you know, make the ends meet. So this $95.71 will just stay in the bank and go towards that buffer. All right, now we have the cash envelopes. And you guys, like I said, with me not really tracking very well what I was spending, we're gonna find out together where we're at. So my husband's spending is always on budget. I give him that $40 at the start of the week, and he does whatever it is he does with it. He never comes back and says, babe, I ran out of money, I need more. If he has anything left over, he just keeps it in his wallet for the next week. So that $40 is always as budgeted. For my spending, I budgeted $40. I did have some money left over in my envelope because I had rolled it over. But I can tell you guys that all of my spending money is gone. My personal envelope is empty. I spent every single dime of that money. I bought myself a really beautiful mirror. And that's what my spending money went to. So even though I didn't track it, I remember taking that cash out and paying for that mirror. And I had just a handful of change left that I threw in my jar. So the amount that I spent was $40 from this week's income plus the money I had rolled over. So there's nothing left. Next up, we have gas. So I budgeted $40. And if we go into my conscious wallet here and we look at my gasoline fund, we can see that I have $15 left. So we can just sort of back into that. I had 40. I have 15 left. That means I spent 25. $25 filled my gas tank this week. So that means that I have $15 left. You guys know if you've been watching my videos for a while that if ever I have money left in my gasoline envelope, I always put it into my gas sinking fund so that I have extra money for gas on a week when I need to use a little bit more. So my gas fund is here. It's behind the tab in my accordion folder marked gasoline. All of my sinking funds have their own little tab. It keeps it super organized and easy. My gasoline fund currently has $136 in it, so over the course of previous weeks, anytime that I've had money left over, it goes in here, and I've built it up to $136. So today is, what's the date today? The 13th of October. We're gonna add 15 more. We had $136, we're adding 15. That should mean I have $151 in this fund. Every time that I add money or take money away from a sinking fund, I always count it to make sure that I have what I think I'm supposed to have. It cuts down on, you know, silly little mistakes. It's so easy when you're doing mental math, or even when you're using a calculator to just plug in a wrong number or to add it wrong in your head, and then, you know, you don't have as much as you think you have. It screws you up. So I always just like to count it. 20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100, 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 151. So now when we have a week at some point where I budget this $40 for the week, but we need $60 in gas, I can just go into the sinking fund and pull out a 20 to make up the difference. That's how I do it. It works out great for me. And this is going to go back behind the gasoline tab. So I put 25 into my gas tank. I put 15 into My sinking fund, overall, I spent the full $40 that I had budgeted. Next up, we have eating out. I budgeted $30 for that. If we look here at my eating out envelope, it's empty. I spent it all. I had, again, just probably a handful of change that I dropped in my jar. So we spent the full $30 there. Lastly, we have miscellaneous, which I budgeted $50 for. And my miscellaneous envelope has $2 left. So that means that I spent 48 bucks. That makes it super easy. See, that's the thing about my cash envelopes. I don't have to necessarily keep track of the spending and write it down on my little color coding stickers, because I know that when I run out of money in a certain fund, I just stop spending in that category. So, you know, if I have $20 in personal money and I buy myself a $19 sweater, then I only have $1 left. And if I buy myself a lottery ticket for $1, I have nothing left. So then on Wednesday, when I want to buy an ice cream cone, I can't do it because I don't have any money left in my personal fund. That's the way that I do cash envelopes. I don't have to keep track. Mostly I write down those transactions just for the sake of these videos. But you know, I know that if I have no eating out money, I can't go out to eat. The only situation where I might need more money for something would be my gasoline, and that's the reason I have my gas sinking fund, because obviously if my gas tank's empty and I have to take my kids to, you know, robotics practice, and I have to have gas in my car, that's a need, not a want. And so I can't just stop spending in the gas category. And that's where I would then go into that sinking fund to pull the extra that I would need. So all these other things are wants. And if I want to spend money and I don't have it, then I just don't spend it. I do have this 2-bank envelope that's got some cash in it. This cash will go back to the bank and get deposited. This was put in here on a scenario where I wanted to buy something with my personal money, but I couldn't use cash and I had to use my debit card. So the cash then goes into the bank envelope, and then when I go to the bank, I just deposit it to make up the difference in my bank account. So this $2 that I had left over from my miscellaneous, I'm actually just going to stick in this 2-bank envelope as well, and that'll go towards my buffer as well. Typically, if I have leftover money in any of my categories, I would put it towards an extra debt payment, but we're not doing that this week, just for the sake of simplicity. So I don't even need to add this up. I know that the envelope total is $198. That leaves 2 left over, which you guys saw I just put in my 2-bank envelope. We're just trying to make this as simple as possible. So moving over to my sinking funds, I did put $75 into my home insurance sinking fund, and I did put $75 into holidays for Thanksgiving. You guys would have seen that if you watched my cash envelope stuffing video last week. So that amount was $150 as anticipated. For the debt snowball, I budgeted $150, and I did send that $150 to my State Farm card, which did pay that State Farm card off. So that is one less debt that we have to worry about. I do plan to sit down and film a debt snowball update so you guys can see, you know, the progress that we have made and what we're going to do next. That video will be up either later this week or next week. I just have to have time to sit down and figure out what our next step is in our budget, or in our debt snowball. So be on the lookout for that video, but that was indeed $150, and we did not put anything into extra savings. So overall, even though I didn't really keep track of my spending throughout the week, I did pretty good this week. We've got just a little bit of color on the page, and that is just that kind of placeholder for that Amazon card. As soon as that statement cuts and I can pay that bill, I will, and I will update these numbers. But overall, I'm really happy with the way that this week turned out. On paper, not so much with the way that I kept track of things, but you know, we made it work. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with this. So those are my budget results for the paycheck my husband received on October 6th. I always love coming back and kind of checking the boxes and seeing if I stuck to my budget, and it looks like this week I did. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would love it if you would take a second and click the thumbs up button. It really helps me to know that you guys are liking these videos, and it helps YouTube know that as well. The more you interact with my video with a thumbs up or a comment or whatever, the more YouTube kind of pushes it out into the YouTube world. I don't really know how the algorithm works. I just know that if you interact with the video, it makes YouTube know that you like it. So if you want to take a second and do that, I would love it. You can click the subscribe button if you'd like to come back and check out my other videos. You'll be able to see my videos pop up in your feed, so definitely do that. You can click the bell if you want to get notifications sent to your phone or your email or whatever when I post videos. Those are just some ways you can help my channel out. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.